We will start on our backs today. And as you get down there and settled, I just want to go over a few things. We're focused today on our core, but kind of throw out the door any thoughts you have about what your core is supposed to look like, and take it larger, a larger section of our body, encompassing a little bit more space. So we usually think about this just front area, and we have an idea that it's supposed to be a six pack or it's supposed to be flat or all that other junk. But really, our core goes all the way from our rib cage down to the top of the thighs, and it wraps around the body. So we're incorporating our low back, the front of the body, the sides of the body. And when we think of it in this way, we get just so much more support in all our other standing postures, balancing postures, and then even on the floor. So just keep that in mind as we go through class, that you want to bring everything into it, not just relying on one small area of the front of the body. When you come on down, we'll get the knees into the chest to make sure the low back is nice and relaxed. Can let the legs go side to side. Soften the shoulders back and down. And a big part of core work is just noticing the breath. So the first part is just expanding the belly, inhaling fully. That helps stretch and open up the abdominal wall. And then exhale, let everything draw back down to the floor. And at this point, you might feel the tailbone kind of slide out and the belly sink down. And then inhale nice and deep. Just start to connect with that movement through the center of the body. You might start to feel the sides of the waist get a little broader as you inhale the breath. And then exhale, make it a little bit more dramatic. Really draw down, pulling the belly button towards the spine, pushing out all the air using that abdominal wall. Good. Take the next few breaths and just get out any tightness in the shoulders, the neck, the muscles of the face. But keep that awareness with the deep breath coming in and out through the belly. One thing I really enjoy about a core focus practice is it brings so much more of our awareness into the lower part of our body, not just in the head and shoulders. Lets the breath really deepen. And this can be really grounding for us, which is why we've started the practice here on our back. Think about giving away any weight in your body, any weight in your mind that you no longer need to carry with you. Even if you're kind of holding on to something heavy, set it down for a moment. Just let yourself be lighter for just this next hour. Good. Take one more full breath. And then we'll start to let the head just fall side to side. Good. You can keep the eyes closed or maybe start to blink the eyes open, but just let the movement be nice and slow. Good. We'll do about 3 more. And then add in the legs. So when the head is over in one direction, let the legs fall in the other direction, just like windshield wipers, let them go all the way over as far as the hips will allow. And then inhale back to center, head comes back to center, and drop the head and legs over to the other direction, opposite direction. Good, try that a few more times. So just inhale to center and exhale. As the belly button's pulling in, we find that twist through the center of the body. So we feel that twist run down through the sides of the torso, the low back. Inhale, center, over to the other side. Last two. Good. Setting ourselves back up in that knee bent position. And then we're going to go ahead and start to pay attention to what's going on right under the low back. So you can kind of slide your hands under there and notice what happens when you draw the belly button in and tuck the tailbone under. You'll feel the low back kind of press into the hands. This is really hard to see, especially on a video. But even in person in class, it's hard to see because it's really subtle. When you inhale, we're going to lift the belly up, lifting the rib cage and start to push the tailbone down. You're going to feel a big space grow under your low back. And then exhale, draw the belly button in and tuck the tailbone under. You're not lifting the hips up, but it'll be like they're almost going to lift up. So these are called pelvic tilts. We inhale and we create this space under our low back, and we exhale and we push the low back down towards the floor as you draw the belly button down. Start to really link that with the breath. So we inhale, create space here. Exhale, draw everything in. Good. Feel free to keep the hands under the back. That might be helpful as you breathe, or you can also have the hands on the belly, sides of the waist, whatever suits you. Good. Continue to find that rhythm about 3 more times. All right, we're coming back to a neutral spine. So somewhere in between those two extremes, that's our resting place. And then we're just going to work on breathing once again into that belly, but we're going to extend the legs out. Good. So it's going to feel a little bit more dramatic with the legs extended out. With an inhale, hands are anywhere between, I like to measure my thumbs at the rib cage and my pinkies way down by my hip bone. So I'm really stretching my hands out to get the whole length of my torso. And I'm going to inhale, push the belly up towards the ceiling. You're going to feel the low back rise. So it's one whole piece is working here. And then exhale, we're going to draw down, belly button towards the spine, and push the low back towards the floor. Good. Inhale, lift up. Belly rises. Exhale, let it all out. Most of us will have an inhale and exhale through the nose. But if for any reason you're congested, you can still do this through the mouth. You're just really trying to slow the breath down. Try about 3 more. Notice how just breathing can start to warm up the core and the abdominal muscles. Last one. All right, now we're going to bring movement and breath together. So let the hands be behind the head. This is going to be a supported position for the back of the head. If for any reason that doesn't feel quite right, you can always tuck the palms under the hips, under your butt. That's a good place to be too. All right, so we're going to set up the legs starting in about a 90-degree angle. And here is our exhale where we draw the belly button down and we release all the air. And then as you inhale, the head goes back and the legs go slightly straighter. They might not get completely straight. Exhale, draw in, not getting the knees any closer than about that hip crease. Inhale, open. Exhale, draw in. You're adding in that pelvic tilt, so you're going to feel the low back push down towards the floor on your exhale as you draw up, and then you're going to feel that little curve under the low back when the legs straighten. Good. It's a really tiny crunch. We're only doing a few of these. If you start to get a little shaky, that is perfectly normal. Really slow and controlled and focusing on the breath. So even if you need to come back to just those breaths, inhaling and exhaling to warm up, that's fine too. 3 more. Last one. Good. Reach up for those knees. Pull them all the way into the chest. Circle around. Nice job. Make sure you move in both directions. All right, from here, you can use that contraction through the front of the body to rock up to a seated position or gently roll to the side and push your way up. So if you're noticing some low back tightness as we start to move in and out of these poses, you always want to roll to the side to get up. All right. So we'll get right into our boats next. So boat pose is probably your classic yoga posture for the core, but there's a lot of other pieces to it too. So the first thing we want to focus on is the line of our thighs to our chest. We want it to make a V position, and you can do that all with the hands and the feet on the floor. Let's go ahead and roll the shoulders back, feel the chest lift, and then pop the toes up so you're still getting some activation in the legs without actually having to lift the feet. Notice here what's working to support you. If you are comfortable in a deeper variation, feel free to go onto that, but right now, we're going to do about 3 or 4 different variations of boat. So no need to rush. Just kind of seeing what activates where you need to be. Good. Take one more full breath. Reach up through the top of the head. And then exhale, we'll release. We'll plant the feet down. Good. Keep the hands right under the shoulders. Roll the shoulders back. And you're going to push into the feet to lift the hips up into a reverse table. The idea is to squeeze the back of the body. Open up the front of the hips, and head can possibly go back, or you can look towards the knees. We'll take one more breath and come all the way back to center. Good. All right, we'll set up round 2. Walk those feet forward, toes lifted, heels down, create that V between the chest and the thighs. And then one by one, we'll extend the hands up next to the knees. So here's our second boat. The most important thing is that you're not rounding forward. So go ahead and pull those shoulder blades back, lift the chest. Even if you need to be up here, that's a great place to be as long as those shoulders aren't rounded forward. More of an angle is going to challenge the core more. Reach to the fingertips. Good. We like to get on that diagonal line, kind of where, depending on which room you're in, where the wall and the ceiling come together. That's a great place to keep the chest lifted and look. You can even imagine there's a little mirror that you can look at. It's angled right towards you. You can see yourself smiling. Right. One more inhale. Great job. Exhale. Hold on to the back of the knees. Lift up. And then place the hands behind. We'll come into our reverse table again. Push into the hands. Push into the feet. And lift up when you're ready. One more inhale. Exhale, lower back down. All right. Set up those feet. And this time we're going to keep the hands down. So decide which position feels best for your wrists. They can be out to the side. Elbows are going to bend a little bit. They can be facing in, fingertips facing towards your butt. Find which one suits you. Bend the elbows to lean back slightly enough so you can lift those shins up. Notice if you're rounding in. See if you can lift that chest. Keep the shins parallel to the floor, possibly point the toes. And we're going to breathe. I'm already getting shaky, so hopefully you are too. 3, 2. Chest stays lifted, neck is long. Find that turning up of the sides of the mouth. And release the feet down. Nice job. Push into those feet. Lengthen up through the chest. Reverse table again. Good. We have our last variation coming up. So if you know you have a favorite boat pose, not sure who does, but if you do, go ahead and try that out. Otherwise, you can follow along with me. We're going to try to lift the hands and the feet up at the same time. All right, so let's start off. Set up those legs. Thighs are activated. So you're probably feeling the top of the thighs too. That's exactly what you want. Hook behind the knees and stretch back so those arms lengthen, and then roll the shoulders onto the back and lift the chin up. Nice job. Point the toes and lift up. You can stay here. The elbows will be slightly bent, but just make sure you're not rounding. Or if you'd like, you can extend the hands. We're going to try for a count of 5. We have 4, 3, think of something positive. Go to your happy place. 2, 1, hold behind the knees, cross the shins, and then rock forward. Good. From here, walk those sit bones back, get up nice and tall in your seat. Inhale all the way, shake out the head and neck, and fold forward. Great job. Good. Let those hips release, the low back. If you don't have, if your hands don't easily reach the floor, you can bring them to blocks or some other support. Good. Nice job. One more. Shake out the back of the head and neck as you lean forward. And you can rock right onto the hands and knees from this position or lift up, swing the legs to the side, and slowly come up into tabletop. All right, so as you get set up here in table, we always notice our foundation first. So we set up our wrist crease directly under the shoulders, knees directly under the hips. The first thing I want you to pay attention to is try to find the line of the back and how it was when you were on the floor. So the floor gives us a natural neutral spine when we lay down and do it intentionally. So try to activate that same work. We have a slight opening in the low back. The upper back is nice and flat because the shoulder blades are squeezing together. And then you can relax the back of the head and gaze down right in between the thumbs. Notice how that feels. And then we're going to add in the breath, just like we did when we were on our back. So we inhale, open the belly, let the belly hang down without letting the butt stick up. So keep the neutral spine, but just inhale, open the belly. Exhale, draw the belly button in and squeeze up without rounding the spine. So we don't want to do cat-cow here. We want to maintain a neutral spine with the breath. Try about 3 more. So from the video, it'll probably look like I'm just in a still position. Really subtle movement. You might even feel that way to you, but if you're really drawing in, you're going to feel that work, especially after everything's already warmed up from boat pose. Good, nice job. We're going to keep that activation. 1 more. So don't lose anything. Don't come out of it. Belly button pulling in. And then draw the knees together. Step the left foot back. Right hand forward. You might just float right up into a stable lengthened position, or you might need to keep fingertips and or foot down. So one or the other. You could tap up and down. We're just trying to find some sense of stability. Good, even if it's fleeting. Focus on the breath. Gaze down at the mat instead of looking forward. That'll help keep your neck in a neutral spine. Good. See if you can lift up without getting that spine to come into cow pose. So we keep the neutral spine. Inhale all the way. Exhale, lower back down. Nice job. Draw the belly button in, find that activation, and then right leg back, left hand forward. Any variation. One side may feel very different than the other. Good. Find that edge, that place where you feel challenged, and hold there for a breath. That's probably a great place to stay. Only going past if you can maintain a steady breath cycle. Only going past that edge if the body feels ready and willing. Mind feels ready and willing. Last one. Maybe deepening without letting that belly drop. And then come all the way back down. Good. And then we'll go into our cat-cow. So if you're used to always doing that cat-cow movement, that stillness, the stability may be challenging to hold. Good. We still get that work of inhaling to stretch, exhaling to draw in. 1 more just like that. Nice job. All right, next we're going to come into a side plank variation. We'll be on just one knee. If you need an extra blanket, go ahead and place that down. Start by bringing the right fingertips just slightly out in front of the shoulder, so you have a little angle on the arm. Line that up with the right knee. Good. Once you do that, then we'll take the left foot back and check in on stability. So for me, I have wrist, shin, and foot in one line. If this is challenging, if you can't bring your hand up to the hip, you're going to pivot your shin to point behind you, and that's going to give you a lot more stability. If you want the balance challenge, keep the shin in line. Good. From here, we're going to push into that right hand, reach the left hand up, check in, and then take that back right hip and push it forward. Good. Continue to breathe. You might look up, but we're going to find a non-moving point out in front of you or up above, and we're going to use that as we push into the right hand a little more and lift the left leg. Good. Again, encouraging that stability. Encouraging even more stability when we add in a little movement. So we're going to add a small little circle on that left leg, about 5 times in one direction. And if you wobble and fall out, the only requirement is you smile and possibly laugh at yourself. Hopefully just your dog or cat are there to laugh with you. If there's other people, they can try it and see if they don't fall. Good. Pause here and then reverse your circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Try to keep that leg lifted. Bring it down if you need a rest. And then we're going to take 5 taps in. Tap your knee to your elbow. 1. Nice job. Extend out. Get that full extension. 2. Squeeze the side of the torso. 3. Keep the breath moving. 4. And 5. Great job. Little burning, shaking, all that good stuff. Bring the hand down. Bring the knee down. Sit those hips back into a little child's pose. And then roll up that right wrist. Good. Give yourself an opportunity to release that wrist. We don't want a ton of the weight pouring into that hand, but naturally it's going to take on some of the support. When you're ready, we'll come back up to tabletop position. Zip up that neutral spine. So again, we think of a zipper on the front of the body as we zip up, but we also want that length of the back of the body. We don't want the butt sticking up. So draw up with the low back, or actually draw down with the tailbone. Line up left hand, left knee, and right foot. Check in on your stability here. Good. See where you are. If you need more support, pivot that shin to point behind you. You can also be somewhere in the middle, maybe on a diagonal. So find the place that suits you. And then inhale to look up, reach up, find that lift. Good. As you lift, push the back of the left hip forward and pull the shoulders back. Good. That's going to give you a little bit more space. You might feel an outer right hip stretch. Very normal. Take an inhale. Good. Really push into the left hand and lift the right foot up. Find stability first. So if you're wobbling and it's really challenging to keep the leg lifted, just stay there. You don't have to add in any additional movement. If you feel comfortable adding in something, we'll start with little circles. Just about a 6-inch circle. You don't have to look at the foot. See if you can do it without looking. So that's going to throw off your posture and your balance. One more. Good. And then go to the other direction. Nice job. Notice which one's harder, which one throws off the stability a little bit. It's all about noticing what's going on in the body. And then our full attention is here instead of somewhere else. Good. When you're ready, pause. Break if you need to. Otherwise, we're going to pull elbow and knee together as close as they can get. And then inhale, reach hand and reach toe away from one another. We have 2, 3, 4. Exhale as we squeeze in. Last one. 5. Extend out. Stability first. Hand down. Right knee down. And then sit the hips back. Good. Just bend that left wrist. See how that feels. Nice job. All right. We'll get a little bit more open with a downward facing dog. So walk those fingertips forward, spread out through the whole hand, tuck the toes under. Good. And slowly lift up. Press the chest back, relax the back of the head and neck, and just see how everything is feeling. And then we're going to even bring that awareness in the core into our downward dog. So what that looks like is bending the knees slightly, pulling the belly button towards the spine. So we start to feel, you might feel the tailbone kind of lift up a little bit more. You can keep the knees bent or maintain that low belly engagement and then push the heels back down. So what happens sometimes is we get into that cow back shape where we let our belly drop even in downward dog. So we want to avoid that. Take one more inhale. Exhale, bring the knees down, and we're going to come forward into a knee down plank first. So we lean forward, we bring the shoulders directly over the wrist crease, and then we squeeze the back of the body so that our hips are in line with the shoulders and the knees. Good. You can keep here with the toes tucked under, especially if you're going to pop up, or point the toes and see if you can lift the shins just slightly. Good. Make sure your hips aren't sagging down. If you're feeling pressure in your low back, then you're probably coming more into a back bend. Good. You might feel strengthening, but you shouldn't feel any pain or pressure. Take one more big breath. Good. Bring those toes down, hips back, roll out the wrists. We're going to do one more, either a plank hold from the knees or a full plank and hold. All right, so let's set it up. Spread out through the fingertips. Good. And I like to go a little bit wider, especially if I know I'm going to be holding a plank for a while. So use the entire space of the mat. My pinky fingers are right at the edge of the mat. I'm also going to step the feet a little wider. So I'm going to step back and back. And that's going to give me just a wider base, a little bit more support. Squeeze the back of the body. Zip up through the front and the back. Notice length through the front of the abdominal wall and the tailbone tucking under so you're not feeling pressure in the low back. And then notice where the gaze is. Are you looking towards the floor because that's where you're headed, or can you look forward and go forward? Not necessarily moving forward, but forward in your strength, forward in your ability, forward in the positivity in your mind that you can hold plank for 3 more breaths. Last one. Great job. Push into those hands. Send the hips up and back. Reach into your downward facing dog. Beautiful. Take 2 or 3 breaths. Feel free to sigh out through the mouth. All right, bend the knees deeply. We're going to start to walk the hands back towards the feet. Good. If you need blocks, add them as an extension of the hands. Move all the way back to the back of the mat. Give the head and neck a little shake. Good. One more full inhale. Exhale. And then we're going to bend those knees. Start to roll up the spine nice and slow. Good. Tailbone tucks under. Think of hollowing out the front of the body and making space through the back of the body. Good. When the shoulders come back and down, then we'll lift the head. All right. First time standing. We're already 30 minutes into class, so great job. So we're going to bring in some of that stability and work on tree pose. So let's bring the feet together. And then the idea is that we start at the back of the mat. So if you need to reposition yourself towards a wall or towards some support, you can go ahead and do that. Otherwise, we'll stay at the back of the mat. Root down through the feet, and we're going to take the right knee up and out to the side. Hands on the hips. Push down into the hips to lengthen up through the top of the head. Think about getting long on both sides of the torso. Good. From here, come into any variation of tree. So foot can be on the calf. You can reach down and place the foot on the inside of the thigh. Hands can come to heart center. And we're just using the breath to focus. Bring all your awareness into the movement of the breath, out of the movement in the body or the mind. Good. And then see if you can bring just a touch more awareness into the low belly pulling in, the rib cage lifting but not sticking forward. So the idea is that we reach up and not out, and the tailbone dropping down. So again, we're creating length. Good. Hands might be beneficial for your awareness. Otherwise, you can keep the hands in that position, your heart center position. Take one more full breath. Exhale, we'll slowly come out, moving right into our flow. We'll inhale, reach all the way up. Big breath. Exhale, swan dive down, lead with the heart, bend the knees. Good. Inhale, pull the heart forward, lift the chest. Exhale, bend the knees enough to bring the hands to the floor and walk forward into your downward facing dog. Good. All right, get that full length in your downward dog. And then come forward into plank. All right, we're going to lower to the forearms and come back up to plank. So you can do this from the knees. I'll start there. We lower forearm and forearm. And then we come up hand and hand. Now reverse the direction you just did. So lower opposite forearm and forearm. And then come up hand and hand. We'll do one more on each side. So we'll lower right and right. Get those hips dropping instead of sticking up in the air. And then push up right and right. Then we'll lower left and push up left and left. Nice job. All right, come back up to your downward dog. Continuing with that right leg, we'll take the right leg, step it under the heart. Push the back heel down and then slowly rise up, hands on the hips as we come up into our warrior one. Good. Here's our place. We just kind of settle in. Hands on the hips help square off. Shoulders are square out in front of you. Okay. We're feeling an opening through the front of the body, but not so much that we're letting the rib cage pull forward. So that means we're just kind of collapsing the spine. See if you can bring the front of the rib cage down while lifting up. Good. Hopefully that makes sense. Option to reach those arms up when you're ready. Good. They can be out in front of you or right up above the ears. And then bend that front knee a little bit more. We have 3 breaths here. So just find some ease in that stability. Last one. Good. We'll squeeze the shoulder blades together as the arms come out to that field goal position. Lift the heart up for an inhale. And then exhale, bring both hands down. We'll start to toe heel the right foot to the outer edge of the mat. Blocks are great here as an extension of the arms. And then come to the point where the toe is on the floor, heel is on the mat. Good. We're going to take the back heel and lift it up. And then we're going to continue to pivot until the pinky edge of the back foot is down. Good. Right hand comes to the knee. And then we reach up into a side plank variation. We are actively pushing into the right foot to squeeze the left hip up. We're going to take 2 more breaths. Option to look. Last one. Right hand comes down, pivot the back heel up and step the right foot back. Plank and then downward dog. Good. Take a big inhale. Exhale all the way. Bend the knees, start to walk the hands back towards the feet. We'll inhale about halfway up. Exhale, fold. Good. Reach the hands out to the side. Reverse swan dive will come all the way up. Hands to center. Great job. All right, we'll do the whole thing on the other side. So root down into the feet. We'll take the left leg out to the side. So finding stability first. Left knee opens up. Good. Check in on the length through the sides of the torso. So this can tell us a lot if we're kind of letting a hip swing out or if we're keeping that stability. So just check in and then rise up into your tree when you're ready. Good. It's not uncommon that we can deepen our tree or find more stability on one side and not the other. So just notice what judgment comes with that and then let it go. Good. Eyes focused. And hopefully that center of the body is all working to hold your balance here. Good. So tailbone tucking under, belly drawing in and up, sides of the torso lengthening. Lots and lots of little tiny muscle groups, all supporting your body, supporting your posture. Soften the muscles of the face. Notice if your eyebrows are starting to support your posture and let them know they are not needed right now. One more. Good. We'll slowly step that left foot down with control. Hands come down. Big inhale reaches us up. Exhale, swan dive forward, leading with the heart. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, fold, lower down. Good. Bend the knees enough to start to walk out into your full plank. Good. Option to drop to the knees. Good. Drawing everything in here. We have 4 of those walking planks. So we'll start with the left forearm coming down. Of course, you can always do these from the knees like we did the last round. Right forearm comes down, left comes up, right comes up. Now try to not swing the hips side to side. It's really challenging to not do that. Right forearm, left forearm, and then right and right, left hand. Good. Left forearm and right, and then left hand and right hand. Last one here. Right forearm and left forearm, and right hand, left hand. Back up to downward dog. Great job. Side out. One more breath. We'll take the left foot, step it forward. Pivot the right heel down. Hands on the hips. Nice and strong through those legs as you rise up. Good. Push that right hip forward. Pull the left hip back. Check in on the breath. Eyes focused. And then when you're ready, you can add in whatever arm position feels good for you. So maybe those arms just want to go straight forward, or you can bring them up somewhere in the middle. Hands can stay on the hips. Bend the front knee a little bit more. Push that right heel down. About 3 more breaths. Finding stability in this upright pose. We've done a lot on the floor today. One more. All right, from here, we'll slowly pull the elbows back. Notice if you can just lift from the sternum up to the throat without letting the rib cage pop forward. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale. And exhale, hands come down. Good. Start to toe heel that left foot out to the edge of the mat. Again, blocks under the hands are great. Pivot the back heel up first, and then all the way to the pinky edge of the right foot. You can toe heel this left foot back about halfway down the mat if you need it. If you want more of a hip opener, it's going to come up towards the top of the mat. Right hand is down, left hand on the knee. Feel free to stay here or reach it up. Use that left foot to push in, your core to pull the right hip higher off the floor. Good. Check in on that little mirror. Now what's above you? and you're able to smile at yourself. One more. Great job. Left hand down, pivot the right toe under, and left foot steps back, back to downward dog. 1 or 2 breaths here. Nice job. When you're ready, bend the knees, walk the hands back towards the feet. Inhale about halfway, look and lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach those arms out and up. And big exhale, hands come down to center. Great job. All right, we have one more short flow through each side, and then we'll come back down onto the floor. So this next one, if you're still mastering tree and you just want to stay with tree, you can do any variation of tree pose. That's what we started the flow with before. Or if you'd like to step up and you want a little bit more challenging balancing pose, we're going to do figure 4. So from the front, that looks like this. We take our ankle across the knee as we bend the knee, and then we bring the hands down, trying to get the elbows to the shin. Okay? So set it up. Again, tree pose or figure 4, root down into the feet. Good. Sit the hips back. Lift that right foot up. Find stability first, and then cross the ankle over the knee. Good. Flex the foot in, and then drop the outer knee down. Bring the thumbs up to heart center, lift the elbows, and then reach the elbows forward as you push the hips back. So we don't want to crunch here. We want to keep the belly long, tailbone reaching back, and then option to hook the elbows on that right shin. So this is double. Next week we're on hip openers. So this is a little taste of that sensation. A little balance and hip opener together. Take one more breath. Lift back up with control. Step the right foot down, and then right into our flow. We inhale, reach up. Beautiful. Exhale, reach down. Inhale halfway, look and lengthen. Exhale, fold. And then walk out to your plank. All right, from plank this time, we get to do push-ups. Think of it that way. Knees, of course, can come down, that you get to do them, not that you have to do them, but your body gives you the ability to do that type of movement. Elbows stay close into the sides of the torso, reach down as low as you can, and push up. We only have 5, so that was 1, 2, 3, 4, last one, 5, back to downward dog. When you're ready, we're going to take that right foot and step it as close to the thumbs as possible, so getting a little deeper in our lunge. Of course, blocks under the hands, back leg is nice and long. And then coming up to stand. When you're ready, reach the fingertips forward, one big movement. If you need a different option, you're going to step that left foot in and be in warrior 1 instead with the heel down. Otherwise, we're in a little bit wider stance. All right, here's our core challenge, another core challenge for this last flow. We're going to start to reach the right hand back, pull the belly button in, and left hand forward. Big twist. We call this tornado pose because it's like a big twister running through the center of the body. Good. Belly button is pulling in. Keep twisting. Maybe look towards the back right hand for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, come back up. And then exhale, hands come down, step back, downward dog. Beautiful job. Feel free to sigh it out. Bend the knees, walk those hands back. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Reverse swan dive, reach the hands out and up. And exhale down through center. Nice job. All right, root down. And we'll set up for our last balancing pose. So If you tried that figure 4 and you wasn't for you, you can always go back to tree. Otherwise, we'll sit the hips back. We find almost a chair pose. And then lift the left foot off the floor. Find stability first, and then cross the ankle on the shin. Hands to heart center. Lift the chest, and keep the front of the torso long. Inhale, keep lengthening. Exhale to deepen any amount. You might just stay here, or you can start to hook those elbows on the shin. About 2 or 3 more breaths, wherever you are. Last one. Come up with control. Step the left foot down, reach the hands up. Inhale. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Walk those fingertips out in front of you all the way to your plank. Good. Feel free to be in knee down plank. We have 5 more push-ups. Last time we get to do these. Inhale, look out in front of you. Keep the gaze lifted for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Nice job, downward facing dog. Side out. Take that left foot without swinging it, step it as close to the thumbs as possible. Wiggle it or encourage it the rest of the way there. Once you feel steady in the feet, warrior 1 as you lift, or reach those hands up and lift up into your high lunge. So of course we want to establish stability first before we come into that big twist. So we make sure our feet are pulling in opposite directions, so that it requires all the effort of the legs. Our tailbone is dropping. Our low belly is lifted, so we have the torso. If you're leaning over, it's going to be really hard to twist. So see if you can get the shoulders over the waist. Good. From here, we're going to take the right hand and reach it forward. See what just happens with that movement. And then bring the left hand and reach it back. Good. Keep pulling like someone is playing tug of war with your arms in a nice, gentle way. Good. Maybe look towards that back thumb for 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Bring those hands down and step it back. Downward facing dog. All right. We have just a moment to get in that last full side plank. So we'll come down to the knees first to set it up. If you know that you do not want to do a full side plank, you will do the variation that we did before. Try to keep your shin in line. It's going to look like this, okay? If you're feeling good here and you want to try it, take the bottom foot and step it in front of the back foot. And that's going to squeeze the thighs together, give you a little bit more support in your base. So let's set up on the right side first. Right knee, right wrist, left foot. Lift up, inhale, and then step that right foot forward. If you want more of a challenge, stack the feet. Good. If you want even more of a challenge, lift the left leg for 3, 2, smile, 1, and come on down. Over to the other side, either knee down first, step left foot in front of right, or stack the legs. Extra credit to lift the right leg for 3, 2, 1, all the way down to plank, downward dog, and child's pose. Good, nice job. All right, we'll go into a forward fold in just a moment. This time we're going to take our forward fold nice and wide. So walk the hands back. Make sure your feet are at about the width of the mat, and then push up as you come into that forward fold. You can have the hands hanging down or clasped at opposite elbow. And we'll just take a nice deep sway side to side. Knees can be bent. think about just letting go of effort, letting go of anything you're holding on into the mind or in the mind. Good. For a slightly deeper fold, you can reach the hands around the back of the ankles, calves, knees, and just gently pull yourself closer so you're looking under the legs or between the legs. Last 2 breaths. Nice job. Bend the knees, tuck the tailbone under, start to roll up the spine, just like we did in the beginning of class. Really take your time as you rise. And then come on up. Good. Nice job. All right. We'll go ahead and come on to our knees or seated position for the last breathing practice. So a lot of times we do this breath work from a kneeling position, but this doesn't feel great for everybody. So if this hurts your ankles or your knees, you can just be in a cross-legged position. I'm actually going to make my kneeling position more comfortable with a block right between my ankles. So that's going to look like that. Okay. Find whatever comfortable position you need to be in. And we're going to do some abdominal breathing. So the core class that is, if you're following along with the links in the email, that is tomorrow. And this is also addressed in that class. So the idea is you're using your abdominal wall to push the air out, and it really helps strengthen up all those breathing muscles here in the center of the body. So lots and lots of great benefits, but mainly that it just supports our breath. So the idea is that we inhale nice and full, and then we create nice short exhales that sound like this. And if you can see, my belly is pushing the air out and it's moving. That's why I keep my hand here for that sensation and to make sure that's doing the work and I'm not breathing from up here. Okay, so let's try it all together. If you decide it's not for you, you can just take a few deep breaths. So let's take a big inhale through the nose. Big exhale all the way. Inhale about halfway. And then we'll start. Last one, empty all the air out and start to draw the chin to the chest. And then when you're ready to inhale, when you've emptied everything out, sip in the air through the nose and open the mouth side out. Great job. So often, after doing that at the end of a practice, you'll kind of notice how much work you've done because it's challenging to finish the breath like that. Depending on how much you've done it, you may or may not have that awareness. All right, we're going to do one more round, and then we'll come down onto the back. So inhale all the way through the nose. Make sure you're just focused on the exhale. The inhale will come naturally, so you don't want to be breathing. Okay, we just want to focus on that quick exhale. All right, inhale. Exhale all the way. Inhale about halfway. And begin. Empty everything out, chin to chest. Hold that empty space for just a moment. And then inhale, fresh breath. Sigh it out. All right, great job. Let's come down onto our back. We are going to kind of move around if you want to be close to a wall for legs up the wall. I'll show you what that looks like. Or if you just want to be in bridge pose with bent knees, that's fine too. So if you have a wall close by, go ahead and position yourself close enough that you can let the legs extend up the wall. So if I was to set up, which I will in a moment, I'd use the wall there, but I'm going to give you some options if you don't want to rearrange your house or your room. So the first is to use a block or a blanket. You can roll up whatever part of your mat and just bring it under the hips. And then you'll spend a few moments with the legs lifted. They can be bent like this. They can be straight. Find a place where you're able to kind of relax. If this is really challenging, then just keep the knees bent on the floor. Feet on the floor, knees bent just like this. Okay? So just find a way that you're getting the hips just slightly higher than the heart, whatever that means for you. Okay? If you're up at the wall, we use our outer hip to come down, and then we use our elbow and our shoulder and swing those legs up there. Sometimes it's a little awkward to get into, but once we're there, it's worth it. Good. When you get settled, just let the back of the body completely relax. So the back of the hips, the lower back of the rib cage, the shoulder blades, the back of the arms, all the way down to the palms. Once again, giving away or letting go of some of that weight we feel the need to carry all day. Giving it towards the floor, towards our mat, our support. I encourage you to stay here in this legs up the wall position, but if for any reason, if the feet start to tingle or get uncomfortable, you can always wiggle your way back or let the legs come down into just a full lying down position for relaxation. Take about 2 or 3 more breaths, intentionally noticing where the breath moves, what happens through the center of the body as you breathe. And then even let go of the task of focusing on the breath. And just be, without having to do anything, figure anything out. Take a few full breath cycles, incorporating movement back into the body. You might start to wiggle away from the wall and roll to the side or reposition yourself however you need to, eventually making your way to a seated position. Taking your time, no rush. In that process, take a moment to acknowledge the work that you've done, your ability to show up for yourself today, to move your body, clear your mind, whatever it is that your practice gave you. Just thank yourself for it. You made it happen. When you're ready, you can gather hands at heart center. Thank you for practicing, even if it's virtually today. The light in me honors the light in each and every one of you. Namaste.